Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I am John Burt. I want to thank you for joining me. And today I have a very special guest. He's a good friend of mine, and it is Collis Adams. Collis, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
And the reason I have Collis on is you are running for selectman.
I am.
Yes. You've done a great job for the town of Goffstown in the past, and I'm going to vote for you again, as I always have. To make sure you get back in there to continue the work that you've always given to us.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I've certainly enjoyed serving the town over the last 30 or more years in various boards and committees and commissions and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed giving back to a community that I love and cherish so much, and really want to take the opportunity to give back in any way that I can.
Yeah.
Because I believe that each of us as a citizen can give back to our community in some way. It doesn't have to be big, it can be small, because even small changes can make a big difference. And I think every citizen has the opportunity to provide that kind of support and give back to the community.
And I think Goffstown's pretty lucky. We do have a lot of good people that want to serve the taxpayers and the people of Goffstown.
Yeah, I would agree, John. Everybody that I've met are great people, and they're in it for the right reasons. They're in it for the community. They know that there's no glory to this job. There's certainly no pay to the job.
No.
But there's a lot of pay that comes from right here.
Exactly.
And that makes all the difference.
I'm sure you get a lot of thank yous, and I'm sure you get the yells. Also, people saying, "Oh, what are you doing?" and back and forth. But me being a state rep, it really has. Been very beneficial, to the heart, saying, as you said, a lot of people do appreciate the work you do. And even if, like I get people disagree with me occasionally, and, they said, but we still like you, John. And I think that's where you fall in. You've always been very good to the, when people come, when you were chair, to let people talk. You never stopped anybody, and, you've always done well when you were chair. And
yeah, I always believed in keeping an open mind and letting people speak their mind, because there's nothing wrong with good conversation and good discourse and good disagreement, quite frankly.
Oh, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with people having differing opinions, but what's really nice about the town of Goffstown and the people of Goffstown is once we go our separate ways, it's over. We are respectful of each other's opinions.
Absolutely.
And we meet at the coffee shop, and it's, hi, how you doing? Nice seeing you last night.
Yeah.
Gone and forgotten.
Yes, and that's the way it needs to be.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a few things down that I wanted just to discuss with you on you being a selectman, and one is the community involvement.
Sure.
You've been huge in that.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, I moved to Goffstown about 35 years ago. I was driving around New England just enjoying the scenery, and I happened to come down Route 13 from Dunbarton, and I landed right near the popcorn stand. I said, wow, look at this community. This is pretty cool.
It is.
The river and the bridge and the shops and the town hall and the churches. I said, now this is a nice looking community. Of course, it looked a little different back in '85.
Yes.
We've come a long way since then, but it's still, as I tell my wife, I looked at it, I said, this community's got good bones.
Yes.
It's got good structure, it's got good people, it's got a good place to start from and build on. Yeah. And so I was entranced right away.
Yeah, and the history is pretty incredible in Goffstown. Yeah, a lot of good history. Now, how about on economic development? You've worked hard, as the years in the past that you've served for Goffstown.
Yeah, economic development's been very important to me, John, and one thing I like to point to is during my time on the planning board, I chaired a subcommittee to establish what was called the Village Commercial District at that time.
Yes.
And what this did was it relaxed the zoning ordinances as far as frontage, lot size, and parking requirements so that smaller businesses could come into town and not have to be saddled with those sorts of tight regulations that quite frankly wouldn't allow a small business to flourish. And since then we've seen many small businesses move into the village area, and it's flourished, and it's good to see storefronts now they're occupied instead of vacant.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that, and I think that was a great thing, and I was really happy that I could be a part of it and bring about that kind of a change.
Yeah, and you got it pushed through. Did it go to the ballot?
Oh yes, it was a zoning ordinance change, so it had to be approved by the voters, and there was a lot of work there to promote it and bring it forward and generate support for it.
Yeah, because that's not easy to get something passed.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it is not.
You got to work hard.
And
you got to get along with people. Because like you say, somebody that you might disagree with yesterday is going to be your friend today because he's on the same board with you. or the same idea.
Exactly. And we need to remember, this was back before SB2. This was back when we had the old-style town meetings in the gymnasium at the high school.
Yes.
And if you wanted to push your point, you stood up in front of your neighbors and your friends, and you made your point.
Wow.
And that was great. I really liked the town meeting format.
I like the older way. You know, I understand why they do the SB2 now, but you know.
Yeah, and so my family history goes way back. I remember attending my first town meeting. I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. My father was a 25-year town treasurer. My mom was actually a selectman.
Really?
Yeah. A very small town, 1,200 people. I grew up in a very, very small town in western Massachusetts. And so, you know, this sense of volunteerism and community spirit was instilled in me at a really, really young age.
Yes.
So, you know, it's been with me ever since. And I'm really thankful that my parents took the time to explain the process to me and the fact that there is a process where people can come together.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I do like about you, Collis, and you know, a lot of people think that I'm probably a little too cheap, but you're a pretty lean government kind of guy. You know, you like, you know that government has to exist, which I do too, but you also know that there's taxpayers paying for that, so you keep an eye on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing that people who serve on the select board, the most important thing they do is they are the caretakers of the tax dollars. That's the most important thing they do. You're responsible for how you're spending other people's money. And we need to look at that very, very closely. We need to scrutinize where every dollar is spent. You know, and I was pretty proud of the fact that when I served on the board, one of the things that we did there, back 10 years or so ago, it used to be whenever you need a new vehicle, you'd go out and buy a new vehicle.
Yes.
And when I was on the board, saying, you know what, why aren't we looking at the used market? Why aren't we rehabbing vehicles? Why aren't we looking at used vehicles?
Yeah.
And that made a big difference. And we've been doing that. The board's been doing that ever since. I think that was a real plus for the taxpayers. Yeah,
because what they do is use the old police cars, don't they?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
They still get a lot of life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You talk to Rick Wilhelmy, he usually gets the oldest of them on Parks and Rec, but he's happy.
Yeah.
You know, but it puts the vehicle to good use. It's repurposed. It's great.
Yes. Yeah. And now, how about on the veterans side? You know, I know you do a lot for them.
Yeah, I support veterans absolutely, John. My father, who passed away about 2 years ago, was a veteran of World War II.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he fought under General George S. Patton in the Battle of the Bulge.
Wow.
He was a anti-tank platoon, and he was a sergeant. He received the Bronze Star for heroism on the battlefield. So I was very, very proud of that. And I would always make it a point, make sure every Veterans Day, I would either visit my dad or call him on the phone to thank him for his service. And it always choked him up because, you know, those people who fought in World War II, they didn't talk about it a lot. You know, they served their country and that's what you did. And he was just so thankful that, you know, his family recognized that service. And I was so proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah, boy. Did he ever talk about stories?
Very, very seldom. Very, very seldom. But my sister was able in his later years to sit him down and sort of write a journal. And so we have captured those memories. So I always make it a point when I see a veteran to thank them for their service because, you know, what they do to protect our freedoms is monumental.
Yes, yeah. And the World War II vets, too. I mean, what they must have seen.
He was on the ground in the mud, and the Battle of the Bulge was not pretty.
No, and I imagine he wasn't a liked person from the other side.
No. But one thing was good, he was a country boy. So when he was out in the German countryside and the French countryside, I mean, he knew how to handle himself in the woods.
So he was right at home.
And here he is a sergeant with a bunch of young men, young soldiers from the city, and he had to teach them, show them a lot about growing up.
Yeah.
As he did with me.
Yeah. And also you've done a lot for, one thing that I wanted to bring up was the seniors, because I've met several seniors in town that uses the elderly bus that comes from Manchester. And that's a really good service.
Yeah, and over the last couple of years, we put together that contract with them that brought the bus out to Goffstown on a regular basis that the seniors could use to get to their appointments or doctor's appointments, bring them to the drugstore, the grocery store, run their errands and whatnot. And I think it's a wonderful service. Our seniors are important to us. I mean, Goffstown, like every other community in New Hampshire, has an aging population, and our seniors have needs. And
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
respect that and meet those needs as best we can within budgetary constraints, of course. So I support our seniors. They've laid the foundation for what is a great community, and give it a great foundation for us to build on as we go into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I've met several of them that have used the bus service, and I asked them, I said, do you use the bus? And they said yes. And we
that's
call
great.
up, and they'll come right to the house and pick us up, and they'll make sure we get home in the appropriate time.
Yeah, I remember that was a concern when we were talking about setting this program up. We're concerned, is it going to get enough usage to justify it?
Yeah.
Very pleased to see that it is.
Yes.
And it's growing every year.
Oh, that's what
ridership is growing every year.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
That it's doing very well. So it's a well worth project that we have here in Goffstown. The other is like new families.
Yeah.
What do you think on that?
Well, just as I think it's important for the senior citizens who have laid the foundation, we need to continue to build on that foundation.
Yeah.
We need to attract young people, young families into town, and retain them in town, because that's the future of Goffstown.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make us great and keep us moving out into the future. So we need to provide those things, and I think we do a great job with that. There's a number of areas you can point to. Certainly Parks and Recs is one of them, because they cater both to the seniors and to the young people with the variety of programs they put on. It's just phenomenal, the number of programs that are available to both the young and old alike in Goffstown, and I really enjoy seeing that, because I've always been active in sports and outdoor activities, and it's great to see us providing those opportunities.
Yeah, no, we do have a lot of good programs. I mean, we've got good schools. I know a lot of parents have moved here because of the schools.
Yep.
And because of the Park and Rec and the other programs we have.
Yeah, we have great school system. I put both of my children through Goffstown Public Schools, and they got a great education. They had no problems getting into any of the colleges they wanted to. They were able to expand their horizons, and that was all direct result of the great start they got through our school system.
Yes, yeah. And then also youth participation. What do you?
Yeah, I like working with the youth.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a long history with Goffstown Junior Baseball. I was a longtime coach and umpire in chief for the board of directors of Goffstown Junior Baseball, and I enjoyed that so much that when my son left the program at 12 years old, I continued on for many years after that. So that was really nice. And I also coached soccer in Tri-Town Soccer League. I was also active with scouting, still am. I still support the Daniel Webster Council of the Boy Scouts and the good work that they do.
Yeah.
So I like to be engaged with the young people, because I kind of feed off that. It gives me a little bit of energy and reminds me that still got some gas left in the tank.
Yes.
It's still good to be able to coach these young kids along, because what they learn in sports translates directly into their life skills, and that's very rewarding for me.
Yeah, especially, but like you said with the scouts, I know several scouts, and boy, they've done well in their life, because it sets the foundation.
It sure does. Yep. It builds strong moral and strong character in kids, and boy, I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends to this day I met through scouting and through scout camps and whatnot, working at Camp Carpenter right over in Manchester.
Yeah.
So scouting played a big role in my life, still does.
Yes, yeah. And then also, we do live in a great community here, with Pinardville, Grassmere, Goffstown, we got a great town here.
It is a great town, and it is diverse, and it has its unique personalities. The village is different from Grassmere, is different from Pinardville, which is kind of nice, because it gives us a nice blend. And let's face it, we have some marvelous natural resources here in town. We've got the river, we've got the mountains, we've got tremendous scenery. There's a lot here for people, and I think that's what draws people. Like as I mentioned, that's what caused me to stop in Goffstown as I was driving around the New England countryside. It was gorgeous, and it's such a quaint downtown. It's a friendly downtown. Where else would you find a place where you can find an inanimate object like a bench?
Yes.
That brings people together in a positive way. Nobody ever says anything negative about the bench. It's all good things. It's all great stuff. And I think that is just a classic of an example of what our community's like. And it really makes me happy to see people using the bench in different ways to express themselves and in a posive way. So I think that's really what our community is. When I think of our community, I think of that bench a lot of times.
Yes. And our town is growing. We have businesses come in.
We do.
We got that brand new Cumberland Farms. Boy, do you remember the old Cumberland Farms?
Oh, I sure do.
I've been in it many times, and now that new one, the parking lot is packed
Yeah.
all the time. I'm
Yeah,
going,
and,
wow.
and it hurts me that the old Cumberland Farms is still sitting vacant, because there's a good opportunity there that
There is.
I'd like to see us take advantage of.
Yeah, I hope somebody does.
So one of the things that I've been involved with over my past years with the Select Board was acquiring land in and around downtown so that we can expand our parking, because we need to put some additional parking downtown.
Yes, we do.
To bring people into the village so they can come in, enjoy the downtown, patronize the shops.
Yeah.
But to do that, we need some land, and so the Select Board has been looking at purchasing and has purchased some small parcels. You know, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
You know, 10 cars here, 5 over there, 12
Yeah.
over there makes a big difference in the
Yeah.
vitality of the village.
Yeah. Now, was that ever talked about with the old Cumberland Farms building? Because they say the building's pretty, pretty run down.
The building's pretty run down, and I understand that the current owners aren't particularly, welcome to negotiations. You know, they're holding firm on their price, and I think, like anything else, they probably want more than it really is worth. But,
yeah.
but I'm still holding out hope that would be a nice little parcel to grab.
Yeah, yeah, because I think there's going to be the old building out back, the
Yep.
mill,
Yeah.
I understand, is moving forward.
It's moving forward. Yeah,
You know, it's
that's
slow,
a big
but
plan.
It's moving, so I don't know
Yeah,
what's...
I kind of hoped we'd see a mix of commercial and residential there. I think it's moved all towards residential now, which is okay as well.
Yeah.
But that'll bring people downtown. Again, it'll bring some vitality to the downtown area, and that would be a nice project.
And have you been to the new Putnams, the renovated?
I love the new Putnams.
Isn't that? They did a great job.
Yeah. Patty and John, they've done a great job. It's my quasi-campaign headquarters. Whenever I get together with people to plan and strategize, let's meet at Putnams.
Yes.
Well, of course, we buy a meal when they're there, of
Oh, yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But Patty and John, they're great people, and
Yeah.
they're big supporters of Goffstown athletics as well.
Oh, they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just know that they do a good job. Yeah, my wife and I, we go down there quite a bit.
Yeah, they did a beautiful job renovating the building and adding on to it, and
Yeah.
it looks nice.
Yeah, and I was happy to see the old Shaws. I still wonder how they could put $565,000 or $35,000 into that building and have a bunch of kids come in and bounce on those things and make money. But I heard they are.
Yeah, I'm hoping they got a good business plan, because it's good to see somebody in there, because it was a shame to see that building lie vacant for as long as it did.
Yeah. No, you must remember the old Shaws when it was up front where Subway was.
Yeah,
That's what
sure.
somebody told me.
Yeah, absolutely I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember there were a number of houses there, and they burned some of them down to expand and bring in parking and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. And now we have a new bank coming.
Yeah, we do.
So
we got a new bank.
Goffstown is moving
Yeah,
forward.
we got a new Minute Clinic, or one of the walk-in clinics right there in the corner. That's good to see.
Yeah. So we're doing pretty
So there's some
good.
good things going on in Pinardville as well.
Yeah. And then, and then with Selectmen, what do you think is going to be, or Select Board is what it's called now? Because that's been a recent change, right?
Right.
I'm still in the old Selectmen, but it's Select Board.
Yeah. I think that whole experience was another good example of what our community is all about, because we had people with differing opinions.
Yeah.
But we had a select board, then called the Selectmen, who are open to hearing different sides, and I think they did a good job of hearing all the different opinions from folks, because folks are very passionate about it for various reasons.
Yeah.
And I think the board did a great job of listening to everybody and thinking about it in a measured way and coming up with a proper decision to rename it the Select Board. I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to hurt anything, and
Yeah.
I think it works well for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the other is the good you've had done. You're going to continue going forward with that.
Oh yes, that's one of the reasons I'm running.
Yeah.
I had a number of family and friends come up to me when I announced that my candidacy, and they said, "Why are you doing this to yourself? You just got done with 6 years. Haven't you had enough?" I said, "No, I haven't had enough."
Yeah.
A lot of people in the community, people who I respect from many of the town departments, from many of the boards and committees and commissions I've worked on, people that I respect very much, were all encouraging me, and that really lifted me up and gave me the energy to move forward. And so I really want to continue what, if I can say so to myself, a lot of good work I had done in the last 6 years.
Absolutely.
And continue with that and build upon that and make the town an even better place.
Yeah.
Bring more economic development into town. Try and relax regulations where we can.
Yes.
And those sorts of things, so that, again, we can continue to grow, make it a even better community that's going to attract more young people to the town.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing I like about you, Collis, other than you're a great guy, is that you know a lot of people. And that means something. you know the department heads. I mean, you can just sit in that chair and start like that, and that means a lot.
Well, yeah, and I.
Because there's got to be a huge learning curve.
Oh, there is a huge learning curve. There's a lot to learn. There's
Yeah.
a lot to learn. There's a lot of departments. There's a lot of contracts. There's a lot of idiosyncrasies that you need to know, personalities. It's a lot, but it all boils down to communications. You need to sit down with people. You need to talk it out. And,
Yes.
And if you do that in a respectful, measured, and compassionate way, things will get done.
They will.
A lot of times it takes a little longer than you would think, but in the end, if you approach it from that direction, you usually end up with a good product.
Yeah. Well, we're toward the end, and I'll let you talk to the voters and ask, please vote for you as I'm going to, and so I hope they do that.
And I want to thank you, John, again for the opportunity. And I'd like to speak to the voters just briefly. I want to thank you for watching and listening. And if there's anything that I can do, if there's anything that concerns you, what are your priorities, your concerns for the town of Goffstown, please by all means reach out to me. I'm available directly through email. My email is collis.adams, collis.adams, @comcast.net. I would love to hear you. I'd love to hear your opinions and share some of your concerns with our community so that I can continue to provide some support to the best of my abilities. And John, again, thank you for having me.
Yes, well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for you to get back on that board.
Thank you, and I hope everybody gets out to vote on March 12th.
Yes, absolutely. March 12th.
It's so important.
It is.
Every vote counts.
It does. I've seen it when it's been 1-3 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah. And thank you for watching. And make sure March 12th, you've got to get out there and vote. And please join me in voting for Collis Adams. All right. Take care. I'll see you again. Bye now.